Oh, happy Thursday, America. We're almost at the end of the week. And if you're like me, you're probably really attractive. So sometimes when a crime is committed, we focus on the main perps, but not the accessories. Except that in the world of cover-ups and politics, it's the accessories who seal the deal. I speak of the 51 so-called intelligence operatives who signed a widely lauded document claiming Hunter Biden's laptop could be Russian disinformation. The key words being could be. Yeah, and I could be a bottle of ketchup. But that doesn't mean you can turn me upside down and spank my bottom. Well, you can, but you have to ask me first. Sorry, Bill. When the statement came out, every talking head who wanted Trump gone pointed to it like it was the Ten Commandments, and James Clapper was Moses without the cool beard or the hair. But now Republicans are saying these spooks should expect subpoenas next year if they don't tell us how they reached their wrong conclusions. In unison, without any evidence, and with the accuracy of Miss Cleo deep into a bottle of scotch. Since, after all, it helped the Biden campaign kill pre-election coverage of emails linking Joe to his son's business ventures in China and Ukraine, as well as contact info for hookers and crackheads and other people who still owe me money. It's incredible when you think about it. The media, the Democratic Party, and our intel services working together like a shadow government, one that, unlike our actual government, ruthlessly gets things done. They joined like Siamese triplets, decided how to disappear a story and how to amplify the lie. And ultimately, they got Americans to vote the way they wanted them to vote. I hope they sent CNN, MSNBC, and the good people at 60 Minutes thank you cards. And now, a year and a half after killing the story, they're verifying the data from tax fraud to foreign lobbying crimes. But why now? Because it serves a purpose. Tell us, wise man. They suppressed it to get him in. Now they're releasing it to get him out. Oh, how does that guy keep getting younger? 3 words: carrot, smoothie, enemas. But he makes a good point. They manipulated the Biden laptop story like a spigot. They needed Joe to get elected, so they turned it off. And now that he's become an albatross around the party's neck, they're turning it up. But some holdouts think it's still really nothing.
My problem with Hunter Biden's laptop is I think it's totally irrelevant. I mean, it's not whether it's disinformation or, I mean, I don't think the Hunter Biden's business relationships have anything to do with who should be president of the United States. So I don't find it to be interesting.
Oh, it's not interesting. It's the same way I think about that time in that Mexican prison wasn't interesting. Of course she's not into it. Why cover a story that makes you look so bad? A question the View producers should ask their hosts every morning. In fact, there should be a service dedicated to when the mainstream media looks stupid. They could call it CNN Plus. Speaking of, here's a great moment from a symposium of disinformation when a bright kid asks Brian Stelter exactly what we've all been asking.
You've all spoken extensively about Fox News being a purveyor of disinformation. But CNN is right up there with them. They pushed the Russian collusion hoax. They pushed the Jussie Smollett hoax. They smeared Justice Kavanaugh as a rapist. And they also smeared Nick Sandmann as a white supremacist. And yes, they dismissed the Hunter Biden laptop affair as pure Russian disinformation. With mainstream corporate journalists becoming little more than apologists and cheerleaders for the regime, is it time to finally declare that the canon of journalistic ethics is dead or no longer operative? All the mistakes of the mainstream media, and CNN in particular, seem to magically all go in one direction. Are we expected to believe that this is all just some sort of random coincidence, or is there something else behind it?
It's too bad. It's time for lunch.
It's always lunch with that guy. The weird thing is, it was only 8 in the morning. So now the belated verification raises fresh questions about these 51 people. Who are they? Why did they do it? They're so mysterious, you'd think they were from Area 51. The media didn't think this through, and neither did these dupes. They forgot about what happens later when you get caught. Or maybe they did, but are convinced they're untouchable, like Hillary and the rest of the Democratic rat pack. Either way, they claim the New York Post article was part of a Russian disinfo operation. So now let's see the paper trail. Let's follow the money. Let's see the names of all the people who helped create the statement. That includes all the big names like John Brennan and Leon Panetta and Michael Hayden, and of course the ironically named James Clapper. who's never done anything worthy of applause. They saw no real evidence, yet they said the Russians did it. The technical term for that is making up. And now the New York Post has published a piece showing that 12 times Joe Biden took part in Hunter Biden's business dealings, showing that the big guy was more alert in these shenanigans than he is at his own press conferences. Saying he didn't is like saying Mike Lindell had nothing to do with MyPillow. I wonder when the New York Times or the Washington Post will decide that this is finally real. Will they wait 18 months? I wonder what Joe thinks.
Hey, look. Come on, man. Here's the deal. I mean, your son needs help, you help him out. That's the way I do things, all right? Think about it. If your son likes baseball, needs work on his fastball, you throw a few around, right? If he likes making money from corrupt regimes in Eastern Europe, you throw him a bone. It's what I do. I'm the big guy. Look, here's the deal. To be honest, I thought if he made a couple of suitcases full of cash, maybe he'd lose the bad habits. Well, we know how that turned out, right? Yeah. And the cuts in the cradle and the silver spoon. When you're coming home on a don't know when.
Wow. So the cover-up was meant to sway an election by misleading the American voters. Worse, they weren't relying on evidence, but exploiting their esteemed resumes in national security experience. And now they may be subject to a congressional investigation. It's ironic. These intelligence officials did not see this coming. Where's the intelligence in that? It's like a palm reader getting hit by a bus. Let's welcome tonight's guest. If he serves as Attorney General one more time, he gets a free blizzard at Dairy Queen. Former Attorney General of the United States and author of the great new book, One Damn Thing After Another, Bill Barr. And if you think his jacket is cheesy, wait till you hear his jokes.
Oh, stop it.
Fox Across America host Jimmy Fallon.
Stop it.
Yes. And she's the reason houses in Detroit cost $1. Fox News contributor Kat Timpf. And finally, elephants don't want to talk about the Tyrus in the room. My massive sidekick in the NWA World Television Champion, Tyrus.
Yo.
So, Bill, welcome to the show. Can I call you Bill?
Sure.
Awesome. Do you any regrets so far? You all right?
No, I'm happy.
Okay, good. You're happy. Yeah, we put something in the water. Yeah, you might wake up somewhere else. You might wake up on Outnumbered. God help you. So, what's your take on the media coverage and all this? I know you can't really talk about the cases.
Well, no, I mean, this is simply a gross example of something that's done on a daily basis by the media. And when you talk about all this hand-wringing that was done over foreign interference in the election, this kind of thing has far greater impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the impact, too, at least for somebody like me and people, other attractive people, I can't believe anything anymore. I'm even doubting pictures, maybe that's a deep fake. So we've all become, maybe it's healthy that we've become cynical. What do you think?
No, I don't think so. I mean, people have to have faith in not only elections, they also feel that we were all operating from some common set of facts, right? To make decisions.
Yeah. And then we find out we're not. Much like your jacket.
You stop it.
It looks like a beehive exploded.
It's a funny story that no one knows. I actually saw you out to dinner the other night with your wife, but I didn't want to interrupt you because she was waiting, asking the waiter for a booster seat, and it was contentious, and I didn't want to screw it up. But we can talk about this because I want to talk about it, and I love you. So good to see you. It's so good. First of all, the idea that anyone at the Atlantic is lecturing about the dangers of misinformation.
Right.
That's like someone at High Times lecturing about the dangers of marijuana use.
Yes.
I'm like, yo, that's your whole magazine. Stop it.
It's not even an ocean, it's a magazine, and they call themselves the Atlantic. Fake news.
These are the same dirtbags, if you remember,
Yes.
who ran the anonymously sourced report on Trump slandering veterans, with 23 people on record denying it.
That's
they were
right.
still willing to run the story. But in this instance, they won't cover the story with a mountain of evidence, not to mention DNI John Radcliffe saying it was legit before the election, not to mention his business partner, Tony Bobolinsky, saying it's a thing.
Yeah.
And let's be very clear, for everybody watching at home. There is no world where Hunter Biden gets this money without his dad being vice president. No one is sitting in a corporate boardroom trying to boost profits going, you know, we need a guy who's been thrown out of the Chateau Marmont for doing too much drugs. That's going to boost profits right there. Do you know what you got to do to get kicked out of the Chateau Marmont?
I've tried.
Stop it. That's like, you can't be a Kardashian anymore. Too many selfies. You can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
It's absurd.
Yeah. You know, Tyrus, Joe did say something. He said there was not a scintilla of evidence of improper behavior. And he's right. It was an avalanche. Not not scintilla. By the way, scintilla is like a shred of evidence.
I go by plethora.
Like a scotch.
A scotch?
Yeah, it's like they had a scotch.
A scotch of evidence.
Just real quick, how dare you? He doesn't get booster seats. Grow up, man. He has a high chair.
Yes!
Get it
Tag
together.
team. He finally tag team with me.
No, it was just because
one
he
time.
said beehive, and clearly somebody knit that. So I think what we have to know, we have to understand where they're coming from.
Yes.
These are great American martyrs. Mm-hmm. They couldn't have what happened in the previous election where Hillary's laundry came out right at the finish line. Mm-hmm. And, oh, no, it's going to happen again.
Yeah.
So they all fell on their swords to save the country from high problems, like everything falling to if he gets in. But they kept him out.
Yeah.
And we're all knee deep in it now. So job well done.
That's such a great point. They saw this as a heroic deed. Never mind the
Forget the consequences
and the immorality. But we'll worry about that later.
We just got to make sure that the red dragon doesn't get in there.
Yes.
And because everything's going to be better. There's going to be no inflation, no horrible economics, no crime, no wars.
Yes.
It's so
pretty much everything they accused him was going to happen if he was in happened when they got in.
Yeah.
And when he got out.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
Quick pro.
Whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You're a lawyer, aren't you, Tyrus?
Yeah, I don't have to be for this one. I mean,
You know, Kat.
You almost call me Tyrus.
I almost. You know what? I had a rough day today. I drank some bad wine last night. So
we know. Thanks for the Texas.
Yeah.
Did I text you? Oh yes, I did. Anyway, Kat. James Biden got like $17 million wire from China. And then there was like 150 other weird wires going on. And yet Ann Applebaum thinks this is a really boring story. You got drugs.
That's it. That's exactly it. I thought I'd heard the worst takes ever on this already. But to call this not interesting.
Yeah, it's
okay. Smoking crack with escorts, stripper baby mamas. We as a country find that interesting, or we would not be on season 31 of Maury.
Right.
That is just a fact. And I don't think that's, again, the most, important part about any of this. If you want to smoke crack and knock up strippers, that's between you and your doctor. But
I take Chantix.
But it's the corruption part that I think is the potential corruption. Looking at this, that is the part that I think really matters. But don't say it's not interesting when there's crack and escorts and stripper baby mamas.
I only need one of those, and it's interesting
Yes.
to me. And I got everything I wanted.
All he needed was the guitar.
Yes.
He could play the guitar. He had sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yes,
Then it would be interesting.
Yeah.
You got to have all three.
Dude, there's a nickname, the big guy.
Yes.
That's everything you need to know. The big guy. What made Watergate? Deep Throat. We got the big guy.
Could have been Chris Christie.
Thank you. There you go. And it's
Oh, he was building a bridge in Jersey.
yeah, it's shutting it down. Yeah.
All right, that's enough. Up next, violence and looting. They espouse and spend $6 million on a house. That was a good rhyme. Well done, everybody.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.